The original mission for the Conversation Project was to make conversations with people, literally. We started off as surveys because surveys were all the rage back when. And now we provide for you links to various news stories for you to read, ingest, and tell us essentially how they go. Basically, your engagement tells us what stories are the better ones to get into. Now, what has been sort of a interesting thing about learning and growing over the past decade of doing this, we may have been doing on the videos in this way for about 2.5, 3 years. But what we've learned from just conversation of folks on the internets is that the conversation is hard to keep even. It's hard to keep it even keel and have a open conversation with diverse groups because diverse groups don't actually hang in the same places. Just as I learned way back when Fox News was born, and I actually had a liking to that, and then it had a hard shift to extremely hard right stuff, which is not where I wanted to be. Having an audience and knowing who to play to becomes a real issue in getting people into your platform. The Fox News audience is a little bit older, actually a lot older, a lot more conservative, a lot more white, if you will, as the other audiences in the news. So if you're not looking for a more liberal bent like MSNBC, which goes all out on the super liberal, or CNN, which tries to play in the middle, but doesn't really because it, went all in on anti-Trump stuff, versus something where it's super conservative, which Fox News always was, and then now it's Trump, 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 which because Trump has that sway, he can pull the lever and tell folks who listen to someone else who's even more Trumpy and go in that level. This is not an indictment of the Trump audience versus the Biden audience or the liberals versus the conservatives. This is the way it actually just is. So one of the issues we've had with Conversation Project lately is the fact that we're trying to have more actual even kill conversations. You drop a topic about someone, you get people from different sides chiming back and forth to give you some sort of perspective. What I've found in what I'm doing is that the trying to grow the long form things, people listening to what I have to say, isn't quite working. And most of it because it's not really slanted towards a view, it's slanted towards an actual topic and looking for people to go to both sides of the views. That really doesn't work very well. What I've also found is in using the TikTok videos and the shorts on YouTube, the 60-second clips, the blurbs out that, is that when you put out what's supposed to be a hot take, even if the point's kind of perspective that's pretty obvious where it's going, people don't always get the obvious point. But if I put out something that's definitely hot topic, as in a political thing or a Trump thing in particular, people will respond. I am grateful for all the folks who have responded in the last part of the last couple of weeks and last couple of months that we've done a lot of political stuff because that's what the audience is pining for. The biggest issue that's come down is essentially if I drop a Trump line in there. Now, I will tell you right now, I am anti-Trump. I am not, I am conservative. I would love to vote more conservative and Republican, but Trump is not the way to go for me. I was looking in some sort of hope for Nikki Haley as a person out there who could be someone who could be the Trump killer. I kind of like, well, I actually do like Asa Hutchinson. I actually have met him and worked with him in business here in Arkansas when he was the governor doing promotional things for radio. But I wasn't going to vote for him because he was not the guy. He was also 70 years old as well. And DeSantis was a non-starter. Christie is just not my guy. And Vivek Swamy is just sort of out there. Donald Trump essentially the winner of all cases. And he was not someone I did vote for the first time, the second time, and not this third time coming forward. However, my bias against Trump does not trump the, pun intended, does not trump the actual content going out there. So if people want to talk about him, we'll talk about him. If people want to laugh with him or at him, we'll do that. We'll talk about things specifically going on there. The biggest problem is, if anything is just kind of a pretty simple lineup of what's happening, such as a short I put out about the path to victory for Nikki Haley, it turns into a super duper we love Trump thing, which the whole thing, which is here's the path and here how Trump is going to basically spoil that, which he has, or some, I'll say, more sober commentary where it comes down to, if it weren't for the fact that Trump were so crazy, insane, out there, megalomaniac, and other folks could actually play in the sandbox, we could get something brand new and progressive. If it weren't for the fact that the opposite of Trump tends to be Biden for stability, even though they're both really old and both kind of out of touch on what's happening in the world, We could get some actual progressives and actual new, maybe not progressive in the way of so much, all we want is liberal stuff, but progressives and new folks speaking things on the side of the Democrats. Warren and Sanders aren't new folks. Trust me, they're just as old. But that's sort of where we're sitting with the coin flip in our political matchups right now. There are people who believe their lives was better 4 years ago, so they're wanting to get back to that, wanting to get back to Trump. They also believe that life in general was better with different types of priorities, different types of landscapes, a little less liberalism, a little less openness, if you will, which in a case, from most cases, that's like saying going back to, the original Constitution. Remember, if you're watching this video and you see my color skin, not only did I have no rights, but I also wasn't any full person. So the original Constitution was not written for me. And that's the truth. It just is. Along with the slavery was the problem for the Civil War and things like that, there are actual truths that have gone through in this world as a nation that have to be addressed as truths, as what they are. So if I put down a marker of fact and the emotion gets into it, it skewers the conversation. Although, if that's the way the conversation goes, that's the way the conversation goes. So I implore you to watch more of the long form stuff I'm going to do going forward. There'll be more things. This one's a bit unscripted. This one is really sort of last minute as I'm kind of stuck in a limbo between getting to work and a delayed ice storm and going back and forth. So I got a little moment to pop this long hot take here. And I implore you to help us out at the Conversation Project. If you spent the time watching this video and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the video, subscribe to the channel, so you get more things we have coming down, especially the shorts. That's where I get most of the actual interactions with folks, is in the shorts, in the quick actions, because it's quick, hey, here's a topic, tell me what you think, it's there. As I do more long form stuff, please engage in it and please give it a fair shake and let me know how that's going. Keep up with the daily show we have, which is called Things You Might Have Heard. That's more of a news morning show thing. That's some commentary, but that's not meant to be a slant to the left or the right. It's meant to just give you some of the stories that the people out there, that's you guys out there, have gravitated to. So we have that going forward. The stories you theme are conversational with the most engagement on the day. And then the weekend stories gives you a real still of what comes up by engagement. Although sometimes, no trickery by me, but sometimes a hot story pops in and the Twitter just loves it and it just happens. So that's there. I can't control that one anyway. So that's how I get the morning show, so I can control what stories seem to be good in the range as opposed to top stories altogether. Email me at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Stop by our website, The Conversation Project. This is theconversationproject.com, and do what you can to support the project, the efforts, what's going on. You can go back to my long and very, sometimes tear-jerking backstory and what we had going on this year and what we thought we'd be doing going forward. But, short on resources, short on time, short on place. Once again, thank you for just being here, sticking around this long. I love it that you're giving us a shot, letting us do what we're doing and doing it with us. We want more conversation, so let's make it more conversational. Stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task for all the grand things you are here to do. We'll see you in the next video. We're not sure what the next long form video will be, but we're trying to place out some bigger topics, better scripted topics. We'll see how it plays. Thank you.